Hi guys, welcome back to the Finding Something Real podcast. We are back with our summer series that we're doing recaps on the episodes. I'm Anna and I'm here with a very, very special guest.
I'm Hailee.
Hailee has actually been on the podcast before, but she was on Patreon, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, which is wild. And we do a lot of things together, but we haven't done an official episode for Finding Something Real until now, which is really exciting. So, for the people that don't know you, do you want to say like a quick little recap on who you are?
Oh boy, I am Hailee Huddleston. I'm like best friends with Anna, and we do a lot of ministry together. We started a ministry called the Valley Collective, and it's all about uniting the churches here in the Chelan Valley through worship. And so we put on quarterly worship nights. I also do a lot of behind the scenes work here at Finding Something Real. I think my actual job title is the local communications director.
And she is. She'd be spreading the word.
I also basically have planned 2 fundraising events for Finding Something Real, and was a part of the live recording outreach that we did. So yeah, I've done some really fun stuff for this ministry, and it's been a blast. So it's kind of weird being on the other side.
Yeah, well, we've loved having her, and she's been like such a great addition, just to make sure that all the events are happening. And I just love her as a person. She's one of my favorite people. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of continue in the flow that we've been going through and talk about some of our favorite episodes. And you guys have been able to hear one of my favorite episodes, or the episodes that I've really liked. But now we get to hear Hailee's, because she's been keeping track with the seasons, so she's heard all of them and she loves them. Yes. And she has thoughts, so I'm excited to hear them.
I have 4 favorite episodes.
Okay, do you want to start with just the first one?
Yeah, we'll try to go in order.
Okay, perfect.
We'll see if I can go in order. My first favorite episode was Drew Barrios, that dude.
That was like the first guest episode, which is really cool.
That one was my favorite for a long time.
Do you want to share why?
Yes, I do have a lot of friends and some family members that are either gay or lesbian, and it was a really, really cool podcast because it really helped me understand on a whole different level, and also like learning how to love them well and not a judgmental way. It was a really special one to listen to because it really hit home for me on that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I also loved Delighting in the Love of God with Stephanie. That one also I loved because I think I really have been struggling with that recently, and I really want to get her book. I haven't gotten her book yet. But yeah, probably just because I have been struggling to delight in the love of God instead of, I think with Anna doing a ton of ministry work, it's been really easy to pour into all of the ministries and pour out so much and serve. And one of the things that I always tell Anna is I never want to put the Great Commission over the Great Command of knowing God. And the episode of Delighting in the Love of God was encompassed all of that, and just really humbled me in a lot of ways that really I needed to hear.
Yeah, there was something that was actually one of my favorite episodes too, but this was like, there's a lot of really good things that she said, but Janine was on that one, and she mentioned, like, I don't know if you remember, but like a really quick story about like a mango. I don't know if you remember that.
What?
A mango.
Oh, yes.
Yes, she was saying that like she was looking for, she was having breakfast and she was looking for fruit, and then she couldn't find any fruit, and then she was like, well, there's like this rotten banana, I guess I'll have it. And then like she found a mango that she forgot that she had gotten, and it was just like, it was something so simple, but she could just feel like the delight of the Lord. And when I look at her life, like she endures like so much suffering on a daily basis that like even just like the simplicity of a mango like brought so much to like into her life. And I'm like, I feel like because I feel like we're very similar in the fact that like we are pouring a lot out it can be not hard, but it can just be so easy to like get caught up on that, and then like not like just seeing all the ways that God is like delighting in us, or just like delighting in His love. But it's like it's always like the most simple things that I feel like will really bring me back, and it just like it hits you so hard because I can like that wasn't even my moment, and I felt like the weight of like how much that mango meant to her. You know?
Yeah, even something so simple like that. Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. I also loved. I'm putting this as one, but it's technically two parts. But I loved with the one with Joshua Lewis.
Yes.
And talking about generational curses / like generational sin and freedom through Christ.
Which because we have not talked about, because I told her about my experience, but that was before you listened to the episodes. We actually haven't talked about it, which is really cool. So you guys get to hear our raw thoughts. But it's cool because you walked with me through like even before like this whole generational curse thing, like before I was on the other side of it, right? So you kind of like you walked with me through the whole thing, and I know in YWAM you got to learn a lot about like it was so funny like when you got back from YWAM and we were meeting at Riverwalk, and like that was like where the Valley Collective was born. But then also I think you remember I was like, what did you learn about like generational stuff? Like I was like I need to know. And that's when I just like shared all my family troubles.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see you walk through all of that. And I think that's also probably what made those episodes so special to me, because they were special to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really loved Joshua Lewis. He was the perfect person to do those episodes. I think whether you are very skeptical about deliverance or any of spiritual warfare, if you're really skeptical, or if you are, I don't know, well seasoned in that, I guess, he was a perfect person.
He's a good balance for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He also, I loved how he challenged you. I don't think I've told you this, but I loved how he challenged you.
Changing the vocabulary?
Yes.
I love that too.
I love that too. Because something that I was wrestling with your testimony was I've been learning to try to back things up with the Bible. Not like trying to like pick the Bible to make it fit my thing, but actually like
what is the Bible
testing it against like the Word of God and being like, okay. And something that when I started to do that, because I do believe in deliverance, I do believe in spiritual warfare, but then trying to test generational curses to the Bible, it didn't make that much sense to me. And so that's why I really loved his changing of words of generational affliction. And because it wasn't necessarily, I guess one of them was like generational, I don't know, I guess because there's generational sin, and then yours wasn't necessarily generational sin, it was just like generational affliction.
It does make sense, yeah. Continue.
But yeah, so I really loved how he challenged it and also explained from a biblical point of view. It was really interesting also too that he has a very like solid biblical foundation, because I think so much in this world, in today's day and age in America, as a Christian, you are either like very like Bible Belt kind of Christian where you might not experience that much of the Holy Spirit, or you're like super Holy Spirit and not necessarily backing things up with the Bible and like testing things with the Bible. And so he was a really good balance of that, which I loved. Yeah.
No, I love that too. I remember, like right when it was over, talking with Janelle, because we were both like so mindful, and we were like, that was so rich. Like we have to go back and watch it, because like it was just like so much richness, and it was like almost 3 hours, which is wild that he just gave us that much of his time. But that was probably the thing that stood out to me the most. That I'm like, wait, that's like a great way to put it. And then I really wrestled with it for like a while, because I'm like, I loved where he was coming from and the way that he approached it, because it was with like very biblical, but also it's like he wasn't like minimizing like my experience, but also like just like what if we like just change the language. And I really like that, but then I like really wrestled with it, and I'm just like, I know what you're saying, but at the same time I'm like, I feel like it still is. So just like, I think what I really liked about having my conversation with him, it's like it also made me get sharper on how to defend my faith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which I'm excited to hear your thoughts on when you listened to the one with Michael Miller, because he addressed like some of those things that we talked about, but that was like afterwards, which is really cool. Which also, hopefully in the future, which I'm like, God, please, we will get his buddy Michael Miller, because I would love to have him on. That would be like awesome. Such a dream.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a conversation with him, because I'm like, he it's kind of funny now that I know who he is and I see like more of his content. That's what he gets, like he comes on as a guest to other podcasts because they have the same questions. They're like, I don't know, like I literally just saw one yesterday about like he came on to another podcast and they were like, I don't know about like this generational curse. And I love his approach, because he's like, he defends it well, but he also voices like his like where like he knows where people are coming from, so it's like it makes it really easy to track with him, and not like he's not leaning on one side or the other. Like he's very grounded. And I love that.
Totally.
Oh, cool. I love it.
And then probably this one is, I would say, my top favorite. And it was the live recording at the Ruby Theater. That one was probably my favorite one, because like usually when you hop on a podcast, the first 10 minutes in, you're just like hearing the intro, right? But this specific podcast, since it was a live event, we just jumped straight to it, and within the first 10 minutes 3 questions were already answered. And that's just probably my preference. Nothing wrong with the intro. I love intros. But hearing, there was so many broad, not broad questions, but there was a whole broad spectrum of questions of, like from aliens, are aliens real, all the way to suffering, like intense suffering questions, which you and Frankie did talk about. And like just seeing that one man that you and Frankie talked about, that like it made the podcast really come to life, I feel like, in that moment. It was also really sweet to see the apologist really be able to connect one-on-one with people. And also the broad spectrum of ages that ask questions, and the fact that there was not any awkward silence. People were bold to ask questions, and they just kept coming. I feel like if we would have had more time, like the questions could have easily kept going. So I'm looking forward to, for sure, doing more live in-person events, and hopefully going to campuses and stuff. That'd be so cool. Highly encourage anyone, if finding something real does go to your hometown or anywhere close to you, go to the live recordings, because they are really special. So those are my favorites. I think what was also cool about the live recording is that it was in Chelan, so like people from our community came to like experience it, and there are people that like I think were already like supportive of the ministry, but they got to see it in a whole new light. And I think what was really cool, at least for me, was seeing like the 2 people from our young adult group that came, like Ava and Damon. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're here, which was really cool, and they both really loved it. And then also seeing, like I already mentioned this with Frankie, but like seeing how many pastors were there, like that was actually special. Like kind of mind blowing. I was like, we haven't even gone this many pastors for Valley, like, which is well. That was really special. So that was really cool. I also now, I don't know if we planned this. We kind of did. We talked about it a little bit a while ago. But I kind of want to flip the script. Because something I love about this podcast is that there's so much good content. But how do we practically put it into practice? And so I think it'd be fun to do a little bit of like back and forth. And I don't know, I think this is a good example that you don't have to be an apologist to answer questions that people have for you
Mm-hmm.
about God. And especially, I'm really looking forward to this for you because you have been through this entire season and have gotten to have so many amazing conversations with apologists.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Do you want me to
Yeah.
start with your question?
Yes. Let's see.
Do you have anything to add to that first before we go?
No, I think I'm good. We're just gonna go right into it.
Okay. Anna Torres.
Oh my gosh.
Why do you believe the resurrection happened?
Dang, that's started off strong. Okay. This was an episode that Andy Bannister did, right? Wasn't that also one of your favorites? I think.
I have no idea. Which one was that one?
It was one that he talked about the resurrection.
Okay, yes, probably.
That one was really cool. I didn't get to be part of that conversation, but it was really cool because I think Caitlin, who does not believe in God, was part of that conversation, and it was really cool. I think probably the biggest thing that I've taken from this podcast is like kind of like exactly what you said at the very beginning, that like you don't have to be an apologist to like defend your faith. I think it can be really intimidating when you even just like kind of get into like the world of apologists, because everybody's so, you have an idea that everybody's like so direct or so like sharp and like can be mean, you know, just like there's like this idea. But I think probably the coolest thing, which I feel like this applies to me in a lot of ways, is like kind of just like listening and like seeing where they're coming from. But one, Andy Bannister did a really good job of like pointing to the facts of like the resurrection did happen. He pointed to a lot of like historical evidence that the resurrection did happen, and the eyewitness accounts that there was over 500, right? Over 500 witnesses that saw Jesus like come back to life. And there's a lot of evidence out there that can prove that Jesus like raised from the dead. Like there's literally like taking it even just from like a faith perspective and putting it like in secular, like you'll find it. But I think something that was really cool that from that like episode with Caitlin is just that how I think kind of like the walls came down, because he didn't address it necessarily. Like he did do all the facts, but I think kind of just like kind of simmering down a little bit and then just like kind of meeting her where she's at and like why she's not willing to put the face there. I feel like that there's like to apologetics, it's been really interesting how like sometimes we can people that are skeptical and they're like they have like a response for like, well, this didn't happen or stuff like that. It can honestly kind of be a mask for like what's really in there, which is either hurt or like a disappointment that God didn't meet. And that's been really interesting. Or maybe sometimes honestly it can be like they just don't really see a need for God, and that's like completely okay too. But it's like interesting how sometimes we can hide behind like the intellectual part, and that's been kind of really interesting to see. You know what I mean? Yeah. How would you answer that? If you had like not that much time.
Yes. I think something I've loved about this podcast and this ministry is that being behind the scenes, but also just like being a listener has also really helped me with my friendships. People that don't know Jesus and have a lot of questions about it. So I actually had this conversation with one of my friends right after that episode, which was definitely God's timing. But I would say that it is compelling to me that 11 different disciples died because
they were martyrs.
They were martyred because of their faith. And in other religions, you see the actual person get killed for that faith. So like Mormonism. I guess, like Joseph Smith. I'm pretty sure was killed. Don't quote me on that actually. This is a terrible example.
No, but yes, you're
But like the fact that 12 or 11 different people got killed in like brutally and terrible ways.
And I'll add to that, like they had the opportunity to deny him and didn't. Like they did not.
So that the fact that like 11 different people did that, if it was just a lie, maybe one person, maybe two, but the fact that it was 11, that I think is evidence enough for me. So.
And then even like adding to that, like when you read through like the New Testament, like Stephen, and like you'll just like continue to see these faithful followers of Christ, and like it's crazy.
Stephen is the first one that got martyred
first
yes.
faith. Mm-hmm. That was not like one of the original disciples, but yeah, because I think just the layer that I would add is just that like they did have the opportunity to unite it and still wouldn't.
Yeah,
which that's huge.
Yeah.
Because I feel like just like in your like natural sense, like you have this like natural inclination to like protect yourself, and it's like you would give all that up because you know that like he deserves your life.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
But also, it's really honestly like convicting because you're like, am I willing to do that?
Yeah,
that's and then you're like, okay, and then you just sit with that for like a while. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one's really convicting.
Yeah,
of how far would I go for Jesus?
Yeah,
and you would hope to say until like the most brutal death ever. But you don't know until you're in it.
That's true. And then like even think about John. He was boiled in oil. I'm like, would I have the capacity to like endure that kind of suffering?
Yeah, the suffering Paul went through is insane. Yeah, that alone should just be evidence.
Yes, because it's like because they had to endure a lot, even to like the point when they actually passed away. Like there was so much that happened in that. Yeah, and just suffering. Yeah, just straight up suffering. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Oh, which
I have another question. I have many. Why does suffering happen, Anna? Why does suffering happen in this world?
I feel like that's a question that, like, even whether you're a believer or not, everybody has. Just because, like, our world is so broken. But I think I would answer it, like, it's, like, a direct result of, like, the fall. And even as a Christian, like, even when you give your life to Christ, like, your life is not going to be perfect. And it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows. Like, God is, like, when you give your life to Christ, like, it's an invitation to an abundant life, but at the same time, He's inviting you to die. Die to, like, what you know, your life, like, everything. So, I think when people have that question, like, I think, like, the simplest way that I can answer is just, like, we live in a fallen world. And even, like, Christ, what He accomplished on the cross, obviously took away like the sins, but like I feel like we still live in like the consequences of like some of that thing, and that won't be completely resolved until He comes back. But I love that Xandra was one of the speakers for the live recording because she did a really good job of, I think, answering that question well live, but then also in the recording that we did with ourselves. Because if you just to sum it up, like a little bit of her testimony, she was like a really like angry like teenager, young adult, and then she like booked a one-way ticket to this one country, and then her life kind of just like fell apart. And so her story like includes a lot about like she wrestled with just like wanting truth, like genuinely she just wanted truth, but then there's also like a lot of suffering in her life. Like she experienced like sexual abuse, which I really related to her for that part of her story, and just like really hard stuff that has happened in her life. And I love how she never like degraded it. She's like, even after like I learned all the intellectual stuff, that didn't take away the suffering that I still had in my life. And that she was actually the person that made what I just said earlier about like sometimes we hide behind like the intellectual part, because that was her. She's like, I was hiding behind like I needed to know this, this, and this because I was so like hurt, and that she was like just trying to protect what was actually broken. And I'm like, that's a lot of us, even like whether we're believers or not. But I don't know if it answers the question.
No, it does. Yeah.
Yes. How would you answer that, Hailee?
This one I think is the hardest one for me.
It's hard
to answer because yes, like I would tend to go to that it is a direct how did you word that? Like directly correlated to the fall. But then whenever I have said that to some of my friends who asked me this question, their response back is, well, how if God is good, how can a good God let that happen?
I thought that happened.
Yeah, which is really hard to grasp.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, without bad, there's no good.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know what good is.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do live in a fallen, broken world.
Mm-hmm.
And if we experienced only good and perfection, we would be in the Garden of Eden, and we would not be here on earth. It's also, I struggle with it too, because I really want to be sensitive to people like Janine, who really struggle with
like just daily suffering.
Daily chronic suffering. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. So,
and like she's kind of a perfect example too, because she has put her faith in Jesus, but she's still suffering. Like she's still like, what she's going through is kind of like, we live in a broken world, and like she's every day is like affecting her life in that aspect, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think what's really been interesting to think about is that for so many people, like Janine, Jesus does, like, she puts her hope in Jesus, and there's two different outlooks that you can have, and that is praising God and having your hope in God, and seeing the good and the life. And then the other perspective is, well, why would your God do this if he was good? And like always looking at the bad. And it really does matter, like your outlook on that, if that makes any sense. And I think that's easier. It's definitely, it 100% is easier to comprehend this when you do give your life to Jesus. And so I think this is a really difficult question for Christians to answer, because you already have a hope in Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one I struggle with the most.
Yeah. That's good.
That's not an answer.
No, but yeah, no, that's hard, because it's like there's kind of, there's not like a set way to like answer it, because it's such a complex question, and there's like so many layers to it.
And it depends on the person.
Depends on the person, because you don't like again, Jenny is just our example, but like we don't want to like minimize the pain that they're going through, but then at the same time, like, I don't know, it's just like, it's like a sensitive topic, because like I feel like everybody can relate to some sort of suffering, whether like it doesn't matter the amount or like how the scale, like everybody without a doubt has experienced some sort of suffering, and that's just like already a tender area. So you just like want to be just sensitive to like how to approach that. So that's another reason why it's hard. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, moving on.
This one is just kind of fun. But what is your favorite part about nature that points back to God?
Oh my gosh, that is really fun. Okay, I just came back from a trip in Malibu, Canada, and I was just telling Hailee this, that I knew it was going to be great and I knew it was going to be beautiful, but I don't think I was like ready, just like how much like of a beauty of this it was. I think something that I feel like you can relate to, because we grew up in Chilean, but I think something that like really draws me is like the water, no matter where I'm at. I feel like every time that I leave Chilean, I'm always really grateful that I'm like, I can't believe that I grew up with like such a big body of water, and I'm just like so mesmerized by it. And I always try to find like a body of water, like no matter where I'm at, and just like sit there, and just admire it. I think personally for me, it just brings a lot of peace and like stillness. And there's like some verses also in the Bible that talk about like his voice is like rushing waters and stuff like that, which is like, I don't know, I feel like I can just like sink and hear him more clearly when I'm near water, which is really cool. What about you?
I could go off on this one. This one
She's like, that's why I wrote it down.
This is my favorite topic about Jesus, because there's so many things like plants.
Yeah,
here's a plant. It's a fake one. But plants, when they see sunlight, well, they don't see, but when there's sunlight, the leaves turn and face the sun. There's also a worm. It's called the crimson worm, and this specific worm is basically when it is time to reproduce and lay its eggs, it attaches itself to a tree, the trunk of a tree. And when it attaches itself to a tree, it lays its eggs, and then it produces this red, crimson, blood color-ish goo, I would say. That's a bad word for it, but goo over the eggs to protect them. And then it ends up, in 3 days, it kind of grows this like white as snow or white as wool covering that, and it eventually falls off. And once it falls off, the mom, like the worm mom, dies so that the babies can live. And it's a beautiful correlation of what Jesus did on the cross. That's exactly what he did. He died on a tree trunk, on a cross, and his blood was poured out for us, and he died so that we can live and have life in him. And fun fact, on the cross, Jesus quoted Psalm 22 when he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Later in Psalm 22, it says, I am a mere worm scorned by mankind. And the fact that he just called himself this worm that actually points back to who he is so cool. It also, they used it in the tabernacle to dye pieces of clothing and like curtains, and it was very valuable. So that was super cool. We also, our human bodies are made up of laminin. It is a protein that our bodies are made up of, and the protein structure is a cross. It is in the form of a cross. Which is so
if you want to hear like the full thing, Louis Giglio has a sermon on it, which is really good.
Yeah, I think it's either How Great Is Our God or Indescribable. Yeah, one of those two, I think. But yeah, super awesome. I just love everything about nature.
And it's cool because, like you said, like the that points back to God. Like God is like, he spits so many, like in nature, I feel like it really like it stands out, but like everywhere, like his like DNA, and he's just like, I just want you to like kind of like discover this, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, we can go back to that one. Okay, Anna, what about people that don't see a need for Christ?
That's a good question. I think that is probably like, when I think about like different people that like are like don't really want to give their life to Christ, that is probably the hardest place to be because they don't like see the need for him. That's something I actually asked Joshua Lewis, and he answered it more on like the like new age type of perspective. But I asked him that too. I was like, what do you think about like people that like don't see the need for Christ? And he answered, he like talked about a story where this was like on a Facebook chat, which is so random. But there was like where he lives, I can't remember where he's at. Might be somewhere random. somewhere in the United States, the East Coast. And in his town they have like a Facebook group chat, and it was like they're full on like witches, and like they like don't like hide it. So she I think she was new to town or something like that, and she was like, I'm looking for like a place that like that does like this type of stuff. And then he just commented, he's like, hey, I don't know who you are. He's like, but I'm a pastor. He's like, when stuff starts like hitting the fan, like you know where like to call me. And I think it's just something that he said that really stood out to me. It's like when you whether you know it or not, like you're either living for God or you're like not. And so even though you don't like necessarily see anything wrong with being on like the enemy side, he'll always ask you for something, or it'll always cost you. And whether or not like something right now is happening that's bad in your life, like in time, like it's gonna cost you something. And I feel like that's been really like, it puts things into perspective, because I think sometimes I can get frustrated with people in my life that are in that place that like don't really see a need for Christ, and it makes it hard when, I mean, that's actually like exactly where the enemy wants you to be, because he's like, well, you're comfortable, you're like, this is perfect, I have him right where you want him to be. And so like it makes it hard because like, oh yeah, there's like everything's going right, like I have a good job, like everything is going good, you know? And but it's like at some point he's gonna pull the rug out. And so like when that happens, that's when you like really see like the need for a savior. But I would just say like don't wait for that to happen. Like if anything, I would just like encourage them to go on like a journey of like seeking the truth. Which because like Bible says that he is truth, and so you'll find him when you do that. So anyways, that was
yeah.
This
oh boy. What I have found really interesting about diving into the apologetic world is that you do find people who are earnestly seeking the Lord, and it is a promise in the Bible that those who seek him find him. And it has been really fascinating to watch like people like Sarah this season.
She was
was probably my favorite part about this entire season is just watching Sarah's walk with the Lord, and where she started at the very beginning of this season versus where she ended is just insane. Like it is so crazy.
It's like a completely different person.
Yeah. And it's very evident that she was seeking, and it's also been really interesting and frustrating for me at times as a listener of people who are not seeking, and even just like my friends too that are not seeking but love to be skeptical and love to challenge you and play devil's advocate, and all of that is good. Like I'm glad that you were asking questions, and I know that seeds are being planted, but ultimately I think it comes down to are you honestly like wanting to seek God? And if you are so against God, like why are you? I guess just like asking questions that go down to the root of it, because we could talk creation all day long, we could talk resurrection, we could talk any of these like these
theological things.
Yes, but ultimately it comes down to your heart, and have you been hurt by a Christian, and like what is keeping you from pursuing God? Even if you think even if you think you are a good person and you don't need a savior, why not just read the Bible? Why what is holding you back from pursuing this to see if it is true? And yeah, like are you willing to switch your perspective and open up your mind to something different, and opening up your mind to maybe I'm wrong, and taking that step of faith into making it your own. So I don't know if that answers the question or not.
That's good. Something that I've also talked with Janelle about is like she's had girls in the past that that's kind of where they came from. It kind of like I don't see a need for God, or like girls especially from like Europe that like are more like a secular way of thinking, and I feel like the more that they came on, or she said the more that they came on, you could see that guard starting to come down, and like those questions were getting answered in a really loving way, but then they kind of hit like a what's it called? Do you know what I mean?
A Y in the road.
A Y in the road, yes. Where they realize that they're like, okay, my original perspective is not as strong. Like I can't like say that I believe these things now because I have evidence for it. She's like, but that's like, but they were like now at a point where like I am not fully ready to give my life to Christ yet, and so there's like that layer too, like he like when you give your life to Christ, like there is weight behind that, like it is your life. So I think some people are also not ready to commit that, and I get that because that can be really scary. So I think it's been really interesting, just like the little like a marker. Some people are in that camp, but then they get to like another camp where like, am I ready to like fully give my life to Christ? Which is another layer that we can talk about.
Yeah, like am I ready to share this with my family that would disown me? Am I ready to
like am I willing to count the cost? Because like for us, like we've been blessed. Like we have like your mom is like a solid believer. Like I have my family like are strong believers, but there's some people that would cost them everything. Like I have a friend that is Muslim, and like that would cost her everything. And so like really do have to kind of count the cost of like, what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Do you have any other questions? I don't have any other questions.
Maybe we could just like wrap it up. Like final thoughts. Any final thoughts? Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to say?
I think one of my favorite quotes that I tend to think about a lot is one that Adam Coleman said during the live recording, and it was that we are supposed to love the Lord with all our heart, soul, and mind.
Yeah.
And so often in this culture in America, as a Christian, we tend to just say, "Oh, just have faith, like God will do that," or I don't know, just like have faith kind of thing, and not rely on our intellect. And I have absolutely loved listening to the podcast this season because it has really challenged my faith and but more importantly my intellect. Not more importantly, like in the time I am now, because I have never really thought about these big questions. And I think a really big part is that I'm now starting to love the Lord with all my mind, and it's been a really fun journey.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm gonna completely butcher this, but there's a verse in 1 Peter that talks about like being ready to give a defense for the faith, and it's kind of sad how many Christians that like are honestly like sold out for Jesus, but they can't do that. Which is like, I feel like that's a part that we miss, where sometimes we can get like so caught up in like the heart part. Like I love him with all my heart, but like we completely miss the mind. And I feel like that's what's really cool about like this podcast, that we can like learn how to apply this. Like we're not just like listening and like, oh, that's cool. Like we can put it in our hearts, and then when we have these conversations, we know like what. Really cool.
Yeah, I went to YWAM, and I'm totally guilty of that. Of like thinking, no, I have the boots of readiness to spread the gospel and like being ready
to go anywhere,
to like give a defense. And then when I am when questions are brought to my attention of, okay, why do you believe the resurrection happened? Why is there suffering if there is a good God? And all of these questions,
and you just blank. You're like, whoa.
Like, okay, I'm actually not ready for that. And so it's been really exciting. So
that's cool.
Yes. Anna,
oh my gosh,
you need to give the last
question.
Oh
yes, she like before we started, she's like, you didn't do the final question on the last podcast, so we'll do it now. Hailee, the Finding Something Real podcast is about finding restoration, eternity, authenticity, and love. Out of those four, which one stands out to you the most, and why?
I'm gonna have to cut this long pause out. Restoration, eternity, authenticity, and love. I think the one that's standing out to me the most right now is probably authenticity. Just because you need to be authentic of like where you are with God. I think so often, at least in my walk with God, I think I am in one place with him, like pretty solid and feeling good, just like what I said of, oh yeah, I think I have I can defend my faith. But then if I'm actually real with myself and authentic, I realize I'm actually not. And I think also being authentic of where you are with God, with your friends, is super important and makes you more of a down-to-earth kind of person, to where they do feel comfortable talking with you about their struggles and what they're wrestling with God. And so, probably authenticity.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think just adding really quick to what you said, it makes you like way more approachable, because like you don't want to share if you like I wouldn't want to share with somebody that has it like all together. It's like, well, now my problems are gonna seem like insignificant, you know what I mean? So it's like it makes you also way more real.
Yeah, because they're finding something real.
Hey. Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. Yeah. And now this one will actually get published, which is great, because the other one that we did was for Patreon. But thanks for coming on. I love you. I
love you too. Until next time.
There will definitely be a next time. Bye.